Namaskar, welcome to Bharat Voice YouTube channel. So this week saw a lot of views about corruption. We had the National Herald scam in which Sonia Gandhi was again questioned by the ED for a 2000 crore scam in which public institution was tried to be siphoned off as private by attempted to be siphoned off by the Congress Party and especially Young India firm, which is formed by Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, and some of the senior colleagues of this Congress Party. Now, this has created a furor, and then there are other scams in which are facing the opposition. That is, the TMC is accused of a huge coal scam, Abhishek Banerjee, and then we of course have the Arpita Mukherjee Partha Chatterjee scam, where a school job scam which saw nearly crores of money being unearthed. So that is the scam part. And of course, Sanjay Raut also was jailed for his land scam, huge land scam. And then there is another portion that we face to now. Like we had the Asikni cultural function, which was organized by the Ministry of Culture. So this was done to celebrate the syncretic culture of Jammu and Kashmir. Now, what was problematic in that was the advertisements showed a Vazwa festival or a feast having Adi Shankara's picture on it in the side. Now, how can you have insult Hindus with such insult Hindus and hurt our sentiments by having a non-vegetarian dish which is made of lamb and beef and all kinds of other meat? So this goes against the very purpose of the purpose to have the festival in place. I mean, I don't know what culture they were trying to celebrate. So this there was a huge furor, and this was thankfully shelved, and this showed again the Hindu resistance to Hinduphobia. So this helped, and now we come to Bollywood. What happened in Bollywood is you have two big movies. One is Samshera, which is by Sanjay Dutt acting. Has Sanjay Dutt is saying a role of a pandit, and he is shown as an evil character and a very twisted character. He is shown wearing all the namas and that is the forehead with all the holy ashes and the namas, and he's shown to be a very twisted character. He's said there is a recitation of the holy mantras and him doing all kinds of violence, gross violence. So that is a very problematic issue for Hindus. And then now you have Amir Khan now coming up with Lal Singh Chadda movie based on a copy paste of the Forrest Gump original. I mean, anyway, Bollywood does nothing but just copy, and that's all. And it has a tradition of Hinduphobia. Right from the 50s, we have seen Bollywood having a tendency to propagate Hinduphobia, Hindu hatred very subtly. Hindu characters would be always shown in bad light, especially the priests and other people who are shown as devoted Hindus would be shown in bad light, having either as rapists or with violence, prone to violence, and other or a fraud like Bani or a trader is always shown as a fraud. A Pandit is shown as, again, a conniving person who tries to spread all kinds of superstition. And then Kshatriya is always shown as a rapist. I mean, that is the kind of thing that they show. And then now they've gone on to deities too. PK Shaw showed very shockingly our Shivji literally running in the streets and into the bathroom. And then there were posters put up by Amir Khan's character, putting up deities pictures on walls saying Bhagwan Lapata, where is Bhagwan? Like this, asking where is this Bhagwan? So this is the kind, whereas uh, in this so-called rationality showing movie, you didn't see that kind of hatred for other faiths. So this has raised the heckles in this raising awareness in this kind of Hinduphobia in movies, this Bollywood or the Urduwood as it is. So this was shown by Sanjeev Nevarji's Gems of Bollywood. Gems of Bollywood has done yeoman service to bring awareness in Hindus about the Bollywood mafia, which actually works on Hindu money and propagates anti-Hinduism. It's a psychological system where Hindus are made to believe that their faith is bad, gross, regressive, and they need to westernize or adopt Islam, or it's a subtle Islamization and Christianization that they follow. And this is not a recent phenomena. It has been right through 50s. That is what Sanjeev Nevarji showed in his Gems of Bollywood initiative. It started as a Twitter handle putting up clips of movies right from 50s, even Amitabh Bachchan essaying and mouthing Hinduphobic dialogues. And of course, you have crass sleaze in it. I mean, promoting all kinds of vices. So, and the item songs, and now direct in your face Hinduphobia. And of course, we had the Haider movie, which literally demonized Indian Army, and it showed the ancient Martand Surya Temple as Shaitan ki Gufa. I mean, literally that particular temple, an ancient temple, was destroyed. I mean, Sikandar Bhutshikan tried to destroy it by setting it to fire for months together. So, and now you have Bollywood coming up with a movie calling it as a Shaitan ki Gufa, literally saying that idol worship is devil. That's what they want to convey. Now, I would like to invite Sanjeev Nevaji. Namaskar. He's a he's a great personality. In fact, he doesn't need my introduction. He's very well known, a reputed speaker, and then an entrepreneur, and a writer. And he is in fact an alumni of IIT Guwahati and IIM Calcutta, and he's a data scientist by and a management professional, and he has, to his credit, written several books. He's an expert on yoga, Vedas, and Tantra, and most importantly, he started Agniveer movement. Literally, uh, it brought in a change, a fundamental change in innumerable lives of people living marginalized Hindus. So he gave them the socio-economic sustenance and even raised their living standards. I mean, enabled them. It's not like charity, it is like enabling. So that is very important. And with the Hindu pride bringing the Kshatriyatva and the Brahmatattva. So he has done yeoman service. His, again, great service to bring awareness about this Bollywood mafia and subtle jihad uh, is through his Gems of Bollywood handle. So I would like to invite Sanjeev ji to please speak on it. Uh, Please go ahead.
Sada Pranam to Gayatri ji and all my audience here. Uh, I'm really humbled by the kind words that you have shared about me. Um, I don't believe that I'm worthy of so much of praise. In fact, what I believe is that I was lucky enough, I was fortunate enough that I got the connection. I got the chance to be connected with my Sanatan Dharma and to know about the role models, the heroes, countless heroes. I don't even remember names. I mean, it's one of the, in fact, not one of the, it is the oldest civilization, the Adi, from Adi Srishti till now, and countless people have contributed to it. So all I'm trying to do is to justify my existence by thanking them in whatever little way that I can. Um, I was just hearing your speech, introductory speech, while at the backstage on what Bollywood has done, and it actually brought tears in my eyes because each word that you said, it's not that somebody has done something bad. I'm okay with that. We all are humans, and each of us do good and bad things, and the goal is to move towards goodness. The point is that Bollywood has been doing it persistently, and the impact of that badness, that deliberate badness that Bollywood has brought, has been, I would say, massive. I would say Bollywood has been the number one damaging factor, the the damaging entity of everything good that we had. Bollywood has been the number one factor to bring us to the same situation where we are facing a clash of civilization in every mohalla, every gully, exactly like the situation was in 1947. And Bollywood has done it deliberately. Uh, Bollywood has done it hypocritically, and so much so that even many of those Bollywood celebrities who now, because of the change in governance and uh, change in the narrative ecosystem, have suddenly become Bhagwan Bhakt or suddenly more mainstreamized or trying to make movies like Prithviraj or Surya Vanshi, etc. Uh, I still believe that they should not be treated as any more than uh, the way Bhagwan Ram treated Shurpankha, who came as a very beautiful, attractive woman, but she had malice in heart. She came with the instinct of the intent to even kill anybody who doesn't agree to her way of working. So that is the respect I have for them. You rightly pointed out, right from inception, and one of the reasons, many people have been calling me that, telling me that, why do you talk about the old films, the films of 50s, 60s? Why don't you talk more about the modern films? And the reason I do is that there is a huge myth among people that the badness which has come, and I don't have any more sophisticated term than calling it simply badness, the filth, the filth that has come is of a recent origin.
Mm.
Uh, Most of the people, it's like even the pages of the book, after a while, they turn yellow, and then it looks nostalgic, it looks beautiful. Sepia color is the color of art, golden, our golden past, the golden era of Indian cinema. Sorry, there was no golden era of Indian cinema. It was always agenda driven. The agenda got further and further, worse and worse with time. In the initial period, the agenda was simply because it was easy. It's very safe. It has always been safe, even today. It has always been very safe to abuse, to insult Hindus, to mock Hindus, to question Hindu ways of life. Hindu is tolerant, and it's always been dangerous to try the same experiment with somebody else. For example, the Muslims. So you gave example of PK. In PK, as you said, Bhagwan Shiva was made to run. First of all, they made a buffoon uh,
Yeah.
uh, put up the get up of Bhagwan Shiva, and then made him run, made him run for life. Now, if you recall, there is also a shot where there is a mosque at the background and Shiva is running for life from below it. So it's very easy to do this. But on the other hand, if somebody even quotes from the holy books of
Yes.
Islam on TV, that fellow, even if that fellow, that woman, is the spokesperson of the largest party in this world, not only India, she has to run for life. She
Yes.
is today living a life of anonymity. She is
Absolutely.
begging Supreme Court, okay, spare me, give me some leeway, so that at least, in the process of representing myself, explaining
Mm.
what I did and why I did, I don't get
Mhm.
killed. And
Absolutely.
probably she will be living a life of anonymity for her
Yes.
entire life. So this is what has happened, because the people who did not keep so much of caution, we have a long legacy of people who were murdered because of this
Yes.
crime of simply quoting those verses. So this is the difference. Bollywood also chose ki okay, when there is such kind of hooliganism, or not even hooliganism, blatant terrorism on one side, and there is this tolerance on other side. It's very easy to become the
Yeah.
pimps of terrorists and try to attack these tolerant people and make money out of it. That is what Bollywood has been doing. Watch Dag movie, one of the masterpieces of Yusuf Khan aka Dilip Kumar. There is a
Mhm.
scene, मैं इस भगवान को उठाकर सड़क पे फेंक देता हूँ.
Mhm.
All started there. And then, Javed Akhtar was once asked, why this? Burani, kitna beautiful scene. It's such a beautiful scene. A devotee is expressing his emotions for his God. I said, can the devotee, can a Muslim devotee express a similar emotions for a Muslim God? Can he
Mhm.
talk to Allah in this way? Can he question Prophet Muhammad in this way? कि मैं तेरे काबे के फोटो को उठा के फेंक देता हूँ. No. Why this? And then they say कि नहीं, Hinduism में allow करता है. No, sorry. And that is what also, this many, and this is what is brainwashing. After generations of, from 50s to 2020, after generations of encouraging this kind of behavior, many Hindus, many, you know well-hearted Hindus, even Hindus, they belong to the so-called VHP or Hindu groups, they feel
Yeah.
कि नहीं, हमारे यहाँ तो भगवान के साथ में ऐसा करने का अधिकार है. And I question them. Tell me, tell me, before this advent of Bollywood, which Bhakt Kavi, who are our Bhakt Kavis, which are the books of devotion that we have? Ramcharitmanas,
Mm.
entire works of Surdas, entire works of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Samaveda, the book of devotion from which the entire source, the source code of all the devotional legacies, the entire devotional traditions that have emerged, Samaveda, which is the book of devotions. Where has any Bhakt ever questioned, attacked, bullied Bhagwan like this? We all say, yes, Bhagwan is our Sakha.
Mm.
Sakha doesn't mean somebody on whom you shout.
Yeah.
Sakha is somebody who is a friend. Twamev mata cha pita twamev, twamev bandhuscha sakha twamev. There is never this ki twamev gunda, twamev anyayakari. Never ever a single time, even this frustration has been shown. This is a
Absolutely.
purely an innovation of Bollywood and created primarily by Muslim writers. Sorry to say,
Absolutely.
by Muslim actors. They were the ones who started this process, and then
Mm.
they started mimicking. And now we are saying कि नहीं, हमारे यहाँ पर होता है. अजी कहाँ होता है? दीवार फिल्म में होता है. It happens in दीवार फिल्म. दीवार फिल्म
Yeah.
written by Salim Khan and Javed Akhtar. In the same Tiwar film, in front of a temple, Amitabh Bachchan is sitting with his shoulder like this, and 786 is written here. मैं
Yes.
मंदिर को जाऊंगा. And बहुत बरकत है 786 में, ये जान बचाता है. So this
Mm.
is the hypocrisy. This is how they have made money. I'll be very blunt. Every single celebrity in Bollywood, every single celebrity, whether he has directly or indirectly done such scene or not, whatever money they have earned, that is blood money. Because
Absolutely.
this money, it is not only that they have castigated Hindus. It is that, this hypocrisy that they have shown, where they have attacked Hindus and they have glorified Islam in other way. In this way, they have nurtured the fanatic elements in Islam, and they have made the good elements in Hinduism feel less convinced, feel
Yes.
weak, feel shameful about their religion. And in this process, in this disbalance that they have created, this
Mhm.
has led to many riots, violence, and even now Sartan se juda, Nupur Sharma's,
Yeah.
it was not about an anger with Nupur Sharma. There are people who have been beheaded, who have been killed
Yeah.
because of that. So Bollywood has to take ownership of this, and as you rightly said, Bollywood should also take ownership of the fact that apart from creating this kind of hypocritical content to please their akas, earlier for simple money, and now then with time underworld came into this, and then now there was other laundering activities that came. Um, Bollywood has done nothing originally. Bollywood has always been the largest producer of motion films in the world since inception. Got how many years? Maybe 3 decades, 4 decades, 5 decades. But Bollywood has also earned the honor to produce the worst amount of filth films,
Mm.
plagiarism. It's not copy.
Yes,
It is not copy. It is plagiarism.
it
And
is.
now, of course, because of internet, internet's proliferation, and now people can find out, dig out, yo, from where did you plagiarize something. So they are now forced to take rights of their films, and now they at least are have to say that okay, I don't, I never had any ideas or innovations, so I am adapting from Forest Gump. But if it was a Qayamat se Qayamat tak, they are also one of the famous songs of with the Qayamat se Qayamat tak, the movie with which Amir Khan became the hero, superstar. The movie was made by his uncle Nasir Hussain, and there was this song which was a complete copy of Mario Takes a Walk. अकेले हैं तो क्या गम है, literally copy, and then they say Mr. Perfect. You so there has never been his Ishq movie, another super hit movie, complete copy, and then of course there were some lines mocking kafirs. That was a
Yeah,
different. They will find that, but apart from that, these all have been literally copies of something in the West, right from camera work to music to etc. Bollywood has not contributed anything original, despite producing so many number of films. Nothing original ever. No contribution to the art and the discipline of filmmaking, uh, and only filth. And so, if you ask me, I yesterday made a tweet, and I stand by it, that if this Bollywood is dismantled, that would be the real freedom that India will get. Till this Bollywood is there, we are not still a free country. Our minds are still blocked by all these Bollywood trash. The thought process, and because of the thought process, the social setups also, the relationships between brother sister. I mean, I just posted today this fellow Akshay Kumar. What a shameful in a film produced by him. So you can't give the excuse, okay, I was just an actor. First of all, if you are, even if you are an actor, at least you are an actor at your peak of your career. You don't have an excuse to say, कि film का story का demand था. Bloody hell, you people make shit stories. You are
absolutely.
not doing some great piece of art, or that you can justify you because of this bigger thing. It was you all produce piece of trashes, and there he says, okay, and there is no context, and suddenly he speaks a dialogue कि मेरे को बाकी मेरी लॉरियां तो मेरे चाचा ने दी है, एक लॉरी मेरी सिस्टर ने दी है, इसलिए उसका नाम मैंने बहन की लॉरी रखा है. वाओ. And then
Wow.
this fellow, such a pervert dialogue,
I
and a
know.
pervert can only speak such dialogues, create such dialogue. Who wrote the dialogue? Farhad Samji. Who was the director? Some Anthony D'Souza or somebody. Now I understand that in Islamic world, is many of these fanatic Muslims, they believe that it is actually haram. It is actually, God will punish you, Allah will punish you if you treat an unknown woman, Muh Boli Behan. That is why the word used is Muh Boli Behan. So Muh Boli Behan, you are not supposed to have any Muh Boli Behan unless the Behan is somebody who have both suckled from the same mother, and the milk from the same mother. She is not your sister. You are not even supposed to consider somebody. Even considering sister is haram. So that comes from that ideology, these fanatics.
Absolutely.
So बोला कि वो बहन की लॉरी, what the hell? In another scene, another film, Bhagam Bhag, pervert film. Unfortunately, this Akshay Kumar, he is now becoming a darling of BJP, and I
I
believe that
know.
seniors in BJP should come in public, say कि we regret having any association with these people, because we didn't have time to go through the amount of shit that he had created. We thought he is talking good, so maybe he is a good fellow, so we made a mistake. This fellow, another, now these days very close to BJP, Priyadarshan, pervert film, Bhagam Bhag, the first scene of the film, this fellow, Akshay Kumar, gets into the bathroom of a woman and then grabs her, and then she runs. So basically, literally, and that's a joke. That's a comedy
Mm.
scene. Unknown woman. I mean, somebody he's in a dance troupe or something, some acting troupe, and then she says, "Ki this fellow was molesting me. This is blatant sexual molestation." Now this fellow
Yes.
says, "अरे नहीं 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 बहन डर गई मैं तो बहन को डरा रहा था." But now this fellow with such views is now coming on August 11 with a film called Raksha Bandhan.
Rakshabandhan. I don't know
So
what
this,
they.
God forbid. I mean, if these be the kind of brothers, uh, I would rather say that the sisters, the women in this country, they never have any brothers. They are better
Absolutely.
off without any brothers than have such perverts as brother, and they're treating it as comedy. And think of it, the number of women who are being molested on street, unknown, Behan hogi teri, just line.
Absolutely.
From where did this line came? Behan hogi teri. So this Bollywood has only promoted perversion. Uh, in India, in Bharatiya Sanatani culture, first of all, sister was never something. The concept of sister had nothing to do with blood.
Mm.
In most cases, every woman, uh, every girl
Mm.
in the entire village is considered. बोला भैया हमारे गांव की ये तो बहन है.
जी
If
जी.
you don't, if I meet an unknown woman, by default, I treat her as a
Mm.
sister. If she's elder, I treat
Absolutely.
her as a mother. If she's younger, I
Absolutely.
treat her as a daughter. But that is by default. I mean, even now,
Absolutely.
even our lingo, common lingo will say, uh, the sister will say, भाई साहब, भैया,
जी.
तो बहन जी, या फिर माता जी. And now, बहनों की तेरी, what the hell?
Mm.
So, so they have, the core principles of Sanatan Dharma. They have tried
Absolutely.
to just, demolish that, and then with time they have tried to start denigrating our gods and goddesses in the most ugly
Yes.
way. See, point is this, and I don't mind. See, I don't mind somebody critiquing my Sanatan Dharma. My Sanatan Dharma itself had a long legacy of reformers. Reformers.
Absolutely.
We have had our reformers. And reformers, you look at you read lives of Kabir Das, even Tulsi Das was a reformer for that
Mm.
matter. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Swami Dayanand Saraswati, Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Ram Krishna Paramhans, Swami Vivekanand, Aurobindo Ghosh. See, and at times they wrote very strongly against many of the practices, and never ever, Hindus, even if they differed, even if there were different schools of thought, they debated, argued. They never,
Yes.
but because they knew that the fellow has a noble intention. These all
Absolutely.
fellows, if you look at their personal lives, even if they were criticizing, their personal lives were like glowing characters. I mean, from at least when it comes to the character, the way of life, there was no difference. They were all very sattvic, sanpurush. And now these people, drug addicts, drug wood, who do dhanda of drugs, who the most debauched life, who have no notion of anything, who are only promoting perversion. They are coming and we want them as our, reformers. We are the third grade dialogues they write. I mean, those become our philosophical gyan. हाँ, picture में बाकी है दोस्त and etc. What the hell? Where the hell have we gone? So, if you ask me, uh, Bollywood is something, irrespective of political affiliations, irrespective of anything else, it should be treated as parasite. It should be, because there's nothing
Yes.
Indian about it. The
Absolutely.
language, uh, the entire north-south divide is actually a creation of Bollywood.
Yes.
Because if I start talking in a Sanskritized Hindi, my
Mm.
80-90% of my lingo will be understood.
Mm.
Say कि I have bal, then balam. Everybody
Mm.
knows what is bal. Everybody knows what is abhyas. मगर
Mm.
आदत, ताकत,
Mm.
husn, jawani, ishq. These are the words. This entire push, the deliberate push that Bollywood gave to
Yes.
the Urdu, despite our constitution mandating that start using Sanskrit, despite all
Sanskrit.
our legal texts also when they were translated in Hindi, all our even our constitution when it was translated in Hindi, the focus was on having more and more of Sanskrit words. Now, the
Mm.
moment you have more of these Sanskrit words, the root words, and naturally they are used everywhere. Uh,
Yes.
Everybody, whenever I talk in a Sanskritized Hindi, even if the fellow is from Kerala, the fellow is even from Tamil Nadu, though Tamil Nadu technically has a language structure which is different from Sanskrit, but still a lot of words are common. People from
Yes.
Bengal, people from Assam, they all feel here we are part of the same family. There is no more that debate. बोला ये तो हम भी ये बोलते हैं. But The moment I start using these words, which are
Yes.
mind you, they were never ever part of the common lingo. Muhabbat, ishq, husn,
Hmm.
jawani, katilana nazar. So what is this? And these are the things. That is why this whole divide is coming. If they were ever responsible, if they were responsible citizens, they would have tried to encourage a syncretic culture. Think of it. Bollywood thrived in Bombay, Maharashtra, Maratha. How many films, how many dialogues, what amount of lingo used in Bollywood even after 70 years of thriving in Bombay has any influence of Marathi culture?
Hmm.
Why? If a fellow goes to Britain and lives there for one generation, two generation, you will find even his accent has turned British. People who go to America, they turn American. I mean, their language, their way of talking, the things they do, that will start having that influence of local culture. Why is that
Absolutely.
Bollywood has stayed in Maharashtra, but has been, the only place I find them using मराठी कल्चर इसकी एक सहेली का मियाँ था कोल्हापुरी चप्पल वाला एंड समथिंग शिट और एक पांडु हवलदार पांडुरंगा भगवान
Hmm.
देवा
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
पांडु हवलदार दैट्स ऑल इट्स अ जोक so,
Hmm.
this is like complete foreign culture and unfortunately since inception we created that kind of an ecosystem and today I feel ki that is leading us to a place where even if we don't get partition I find this divide in every mohalla every place thanks to Bollywood and we need to do something about it.
You're very right, Sanjeev ji. It has completely left us feeling self-loathing for our own identity. It has done that to us. And then now there is a new trend. I mean, this trend is always there, but now you have this A-grade, so-called A-grade actresses who are actually basically Hinos themselves, Hindus only in name, like you have this Ratna Patak Shah recently denouncing Karwa Chauth. Now, Karwa Chauth, she called it as a regressive festival. I would like to say Karwa Chauth is something that our ancestors, women, practice to pray for the long life of their husbands. And in fact, in South, we have a festival on the same lines called as Kardia Nomb, where Savitri, I mean, we commemorate the greatness of Savitri. The Savitri was such a endowed person. She was not some Ablanari. She was a princess. She married a poor man by choice. And she went against her father. She married him. And then he, of course, it was got.
Example of women empowerment.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah, that
Savitri
was.
story is example of women empowerment.
Yes, and he died early, and she brought him back from Yama through her wit and her braveness, right? Basically, and wit, and she brought him back live. Now that is seen, and what is wrong in praying for your spouse's longevity unless your husband is a rakshas or a jihadi? I would like to say perhaps her husband, Ratna Patak Shah's husband, is quite a jihadi, so she wouldn't. She perhaps doesn't want long life for her husband. What else can we make of it? And then, of course, you had Kanyadan being mocked at by what is her name?
Alia.
Famous Alia Bhatt, a famous Bollywood actress. So she called women property and all that. I mean, that again is a wrong concept because Kanyadan is the greatest. It is our danam is not charity. It's not that you waste a worn out pair of jeans is given out just because you've used and you want to throw it. It's not like that. When you give danam, you give vidya danam, right? Vidya danam is also danam. You give putra danam too. So kanya danam is the greatest of danas. It is gotra danas. You give a woman to a family to perpetuate humanity. She educates the family. She nurtures the family. She is seen as Lakshmi herself, and it is seen as a union of Sri and Lakshmi. So I would like you to speak about that too and complete because it is completely destroying our culture and tradition. Seeing women as an object, as being a dane of this Bollywood mafia.
See, uh, let me start with the last sentence you said. Ki woman as an object. See, Bollywood has always portrayed woman as an object. That comes from the culture that inspired Urduwood and the agenda, the side business of this. Many of Bollywood people have been found to indulge in prostitution. Uh, there have been cases, one or two. I am not saying everybody is involved, etc. Probably, maybe, may not be, but at least from what they portray on films and the kind of allegations that come on Bollywood, kind of money laundering activities that they do, it comes as no surprise. So for them, obviously, treating women as object is something which is more close to the culture and the mindset they represent, and that is why any other culture which doesn't view woman as an object, they get allergic to it. And second point, I would say, till recent, at least till last 10, 20 years, at least one thing I would respect about Bollywood was that the Bollywood morons, the the perverts in Bollywood, they would do all kind of trash, but they would not also go and try to present themselves as social reformers. So they would admit that we are rascals. We do all kind of rascal works. Pardon my language. Sorry, I don't have soft words for these people. But then that's the way we are. We don't try and come to you and say, "Ki, okay, we are great philosophers or social reformers or intellectuals or having very high esoteric thoughts." It's a recent phenomenon that these people have suddenly started coming and trying to come portray themselves as Gyanis, Dhyanis, social reformers. And that is where this thing becomes far more ugly. It's almost like Osama bin Laden or Baghdadi coming and giving lectures on peace and non-violence. It's almost like this, far worse than that. Now, Ratna Pathak Shah. Ratna Pathak Shah, first of all, this Karwa Chauth is not something which is imposed, at least on it's
Yes.
not something imposed. Second, it's
Sorry.
not imposed by the male. Please understand. Karwa Chauth is a festival by women, conducted by women for whom matlab, the whole arrangement is by women, and the entire ecosystem, it's all about women. I mean, it's when Karwa Chauth festival happens in a female, it's not that the man comes and he instructs or he says ki tumko Karwa Chauth ka vrat karna padega. It's a woman thing. Now an
Absolutely.
all woman festival where a woman says ki my husband will live long life, why the hell is
Hmm.
it for them?
I know.
Second thing, it is not so. First of all, there is not the whole notion of it being a male patriarchy or something, that's a trash.
Hmm.
Second, Ratna Pathak Shah in any case has left the culture of Karwa Chauth and moved to a culture where she is not supposed to do Karwa Chauth. In that
Hmm.
culture,
Yeah.
if you look at even Sachar committee reports, if you look at all the developmental indices of UN to India, etc., that the group that she represents now, Muslim women, that is the most marginalized, most underdeveloped, facing the most amount of gender atrocity in this whole world. They have to face halala, they have to face
Hmm.
parda, they have to face polygamy, and they can be thrown at will. Even if somebody divorces, she has to keep idda for 3 months, not meet anybody, so
Hmm.
to prove that she was not pregnant with somebody else's child.
Yeah.
This is the kind of value that they trust that they give to women, and then only she can do something else. Why the hell is she not talking about these issues?
Absolutely.
The brain of sarpanch se juda hai. So that is
Absolutely.
the progress. As far as
And no marriages. I mean, they call it a marriage. It's a one night stand or a
it's not.
prostitution.
It's
I
not a
don't know.
marriage. It's not a marriage. It's a contract.
It's
Nikah.
a con-
Nikah
yeah.
word itself means a sexual contract.
It's a contract.
It's a
Yes.
sexual contract. So here, see, the Vivaha in our Sanatan culture, Vivaha is a sanskar. It's one of the Shoda sanskars. And sanskar is supposed to be yajna. Yajna is dedicated to Ishwar. There is an
Hmm.
Ishta Dev, and that is why when yajna happens, the groom and the bride, they are considered
Hmm.
Vishnu and Lakshmi. It's a
Absolutely.
worship. And because it's a worship, because it's a puja, and because if you look at the vows of the uh, Vivah, the mantras, the Ved mantras, I had once given a long lecture on this, and the whole Ved mantras, they don't talk about what you and me will do after we get married to tonight, etc. It talks about in the whole life how we will become a value addition for this society. How we will uh, do the do what is needed to make our ancestors proud, how we will do to create good generations. So it's about being really responsible good citizens, being good responsible people, whose presence is not a weight on this mother earth, but a contribution. So Vivaha is a puja, it's a sanskar, and here it's a contract. So what happens? Ki they first of all this entire, and that is why I also have this objection of this lingo of calling Vivaha as shadi. You know,
Shadi, yes.
shadi is a celebration. Shadi means celebration because I've got a woman with whom then I can fulfill my sexual perversion. That's all. Here Vivaha is a puja. That is why the father of the bride that comes and to the deity, to the fellow who has been treated as Bhagavan Vishnu, he gives the hand. And a dan, when dan happens, dan is supposed to be given to the yogya.
Yeah.
If you read Bhagavad Gita, it says Datavyamiti Yadyanam, ki diyatenu karinacha. You have to look Desh,
Adhikara.
Kal, Patra, and then Yukta Dhyan. So what father is saying is that I have looked at the situation. My daughter is now mature. I have looked at what is good for her, and I know you are the right fellow. Hence, I am transferring the rights of taking her full care so that she blooms, and then both of you can, contribute to the society. That is supposed to be done. It is not supposed to be, an object there. It's not an Ola ka sale or something. These people are reduced to. Coming to this Alia, but again, Kanya Dan. So that is where, and also Kanya Dan had a responsibility. People don't realize. It's not Kanya Ka Dan. People don't understand this. In Sanskrit, in Vedic Sanskrit, the Chaturthi Vibhakti and the Sashti Vibhakti are interchangeable. It's not
Mm.
Kanya Yahadan, it's also Kanya Yaidan. Means
Mhm.
Dan of Kanya is equal to Dan for Kanya. And that is why
Mhm.
when Kanya Dan happens, even today, the culture is the entire society, people, they say कि अरे कन्यादान है उनके घर में बेटी का विवाह है, everybody goes selflessly contributes.
Mm.
The culture is there कि यार उसकी बेटी का विवाह है, everybody will contribute and try to facilitate all the arrangement etc. कि नहीं बेटी का अच्छे से वो विदा करना है, सब कुछ करना है. It is supposed to be a puja. So and then whatever you give to the daughter, it is supposed to be so that the future life that you live, that life you live with happiness. So that is the whole concept. When it, and at times they equate it with Dahej. It is not. See, Dahej itself is an Urdu word. People don't hear this. The problem of Dahej, by the way, is far worse in Pakistan than any other country in the world. And Dahej comes from the inspiration of Prophet Muhammad, who was supposed to have given a lot of stuff when he married his daughter to Ali, to
Mm.
Hazrat Ali. So that was supposed to be Dahej. And actually, in
Mhm.
India, the whole culture of this Dahej, giving money to the groom, etc., that is an Islamic influence. If you look at Brahma Vivaha, Prajapati Vivaha, etc., there is no concept of giving, selling. There is no
Absolutely.
concept of selling the groom. So these are all Urduwood concepts deliberately imposed upon us, and now they accuse us for those things. So
Yes.
and this they do, and this Alia Bhatt. After all this, she does a trash film called Gangubai Kathiawadi, and
Mhm.
support that film. These rascals of Urduwood, uh, they use small children, 5 year, 6 year old children. They make
Mm.
them dress like Gangubai Kathiawadi as a prostitute with dark lipstick, and then pretend play of smoking cigarette, and then
Mm.
yeah, kitni beautiful, what wow, what acting. We had to file complaint in the National Commission for Child Rights, Protection of Child Rights, and then Filmfare was forced to withdraw those clips. So this is how
Mm.
they are using. They are now these disgusting fellows are getting into child prostitution. What the hell?
Absolutely.
So and now these people give me gyan on Kanyadan. See, for money
Yes.
they can do anything. So that's all I will say. And to me, in fact, if I tell you, this insult, this demonization of our gods and goddesses is
Mm.
actually an extension of their pervert mindset with which they trivialize or objectify our women. I would
Yeah.
have been happy. I would have been happy, I tell you, if I would have seen that these people are greatest champions of women empowerment. They are
Hmm.
great protectors of women. They respect the children. They don't say ki ha 16 baras ki kachi kali, and what kachi kali means what? You know the word comes in. Kamsin means come sin, whose age is less, who has not yet fully grown. So young girl who is not yet fully grown. So Kamsin Javani. If instead of that, they would have at least, even if they would have been attacked by deities, my way of worship, but if I would have
Hmm.
seen that at least when it comes to women empowerment, when it comes to protection of child rights, these people are good people, I would have tolerated. But the point is, my culture, my Sanatan Dharma, worships the deities and also protects the children and also women empowerment comes. It's all in the same package. So they, because they hate this entire package they will hate, and that is my
Yeah.
biggest problem.
Absolutely. And we celebrate women as Nari Shaktis.
Yes.
We so there is no such thing as the Western empowerment. I mean, in the sense we are already, our women, you just have to enable them to realize their potential. We, the Shaktis, because we are seen as providers, educators, and even defenders. All three roles have been given in our Shastras to us.
See
So,
again, Aurat word itself means keep Aurat, a dirty, naked, private part. Aura, that is
yeah.
aura. From where the word Aurat comes. So this is what they view as their. Here, Stri. Stri, the three in the Stri. The Stri basically means who does tran of you from pap. Stri is supposed to be somebody who relieves you from all the pap. So
Oh,
Stri here is, that is why Stri is a Devi. Yosha, Yosha. There is another word, Yosha. Yosha means one who brings the beauty, the power that is there in Yajurvedic mantra, Yajur mantra. That is what is Yadushi, who is the derivative from Yajna. So here, Stri is supposed to be the word, Stri itself means
absolutely.
ki she is supposed to be a Devi who relieves me. I mean, in our basic vocabulary, you will find respect for Devi. If you read Vedas, there are mantras after mantras, as you said, for the role of Stri as Saraswati, as Vidya Devi, role of Stri as Durga, which is the warrior, and the role of Stri who, when given right amount of protection, without without suppressing her freedom,
Hmm.
she can make your entire society heaven. Yatra naryastu pujante ramante tatra deva. How many such verses can they quote from whatever other ideological books, etc. that they tend to bring to the talk about women greatness, etc. It's only here. But this entire again this concept that we suppress women. Sorry, there are times misquote many verses. In our concept, the role of Stri and Purush, the most classic concept is supposed to be Purush is supposed to protect the state. Protect means it's almost like like I'm the gatekeeper. I won't allow anybody else to come and rape you, and that is why our you know warriors have given life to protect their women. But it also says कि I won't go myself and try to interfere with women कि तुम ये करो, यो करो, do करो, this करो. This is a very modern concept. Sorry, in our culture, look at who was with Dasharath when he was fighting Kaikai. Do you think
Yeah,
kind of an
this is
empowerment is
right.
there? So here the whole point is, yes, I have to protect because I live in a society of perverts. I know there are people who considers three as a mal, क्या माल है बहन होगी तेरी all etc. I don't trust those people, so I'll have to protect the woman in my family. I will do that proudly, but then I don't interfere in the ways of my woman. So this interference instead in the other society that they represent, that they glorify, there a woman is supposed to be subjugated and follow the orders which are given by them, which are further given by the heavenly book. So this is like this is a clash of civilization, and Bollywood is just acting on their behalf, fleecing
Absolutely.
our own money and then using against
And
us.
Sanjeev ji, do you now see a good resistance from the Hindus for this clash of cultures? Because now there is a strain. I mean, we have now started a trend also to boycott Bollywood. And Bollywood, who is like now Lal Singh Chadda is facing a boycott call, and even some Sheras. many of the shows are being cancelled because people are not turning up in the theaters. So, do you now see a change from where you started 2 years back? I can quite see it because I remember for PK there was struggle when we were trying to spread the awareness against PK in either. Now there is a movement from the society itself, and Gems of Bollywood has played a big role in it. So, what do you say? What do you have to say about that? How far have we reached?
Okay, uh, from 2 years ago, it has been a massive change. 2 years ago, when I used to put some of the clips, we would be trolled like anything from many people. When I first, I recall, I put the clip of that super hit song of Mohammed Rafi, "पत्थर के सनम तुझे हमने मोहब्बत का खुदा माना." And I said
Hmm.
the word used for idols in Quran, and it
Hmm.
basically means ki, stone idols. I am a fool
Yes.
that I worshipped you as a god. बड़ी भूल हुई हमसे ये हमने क्या सोचा क्या माना नहीं नहीं. And I was like, people were angry on me because I had heard their long held belief. Probably they had sung this song to woo their better halves or etc.
Hmm.
Whatever it is. I don't know, but
Hmm.
it was a stiff resistance. From there, things have changed massively. For the first time, when I questioned Akshay Kumar, I questioned
Hmm.
Amitabh Bachchan with their roles, people were angry. I mean, probably people have emulated them since their childhood. They would have tried to emulate their
Hmm.
hairstyle, their way of talking, their mannerisms, etc. Now suddenly I said, okay, it was all fraud. So from there, it has been a significant change. However, I would not want to commit the mistake. First of all, I would not take credit for this. Uh, I would say uh, that I'm happy to consider myself as that tiny flame, which was part of this bigger yajna created by Ishwar, contributing in that direction and not in the opposite direction. So I just consider myself lucky to be having able to give my ahuti in this yajna. That's all. I would not let my guards down because people have to understand Bollywood is a facade of a much bigger conspiracy against the whole
Yes.
idea of India, idea of Bharat, idea of Sanatan Dharma. It's a billion and probably $1 trillion cartel. There are layers to it. First of all, Bollywood. See, everybody in Bollywood knows that they make trash films. If they are making trash films, which whose expense, I mean, even despite overinflation, run into crores. You and I would not be fool enough to make crores of investment on one single project. And I do just
Hmm.
one or two projects once in a year, and then it may be hit or it may be a flop. Their their real sources of money has to be something else, and this is just a facade to legitimize their expenses. In other words,
Absolutely.
I suspect that Urduwood has a lot of role to play of money laundering, crime business, terror finance. A lot of it actually started being uncovered in 1993 after the Bombay bomb blasts.
Hmm.
So I feel ki this is just a facade. Because it's a facade, if they feel ki now things are changing, they may try to behave like Shurpankhar. They may try to come as that sadhu to Sita. So the Ravan may come as sadhu. They may try to fool.
Yeah.
A couple of my insiders in Bollywood said, if a couple of their more films go flop, they may start doing Ram Katha and Krishna Leela from next year because they just have to, they are struggling to stay relevant. I will not let the guards down. Yes, there
Absolutely.
has been awakening. Critical mass has been raised where people are questioning them. But
Yes.
until we should not make that classic mistake which Samrat Prithviraj Chauhan did.
Yes.
We must not declare victory until it has been totally dismantled. We have to
Absolutely.
follow the Krishna Niti, and until the last of the Duryodhan has his thighs broken, we should not declare victory. So
Absolutely.
that is what I would say because we are think of it, we are fighting the $1 billion Sar Tansiduda mafia. We are
Absolutely.
fighting the $1 billion Christian missionary. The way they you go and start working. I mean, if you go to a village now, if you especially if you are in southern part of India, if you are in Punjab, if you are in some of the tribal areas, you can see the amount of money they pump in, and this entire
Absolutely.
cartel, a huge amount of earning from. Bollywood, who holds this RPG group holds the right to almost entire Bollywood music, which has been created over so many years, most of it,
Mm-hmm.
and a significant part of this RPG group's corporate social responsibility has gone to Mother Teresa. And Mother
Mm-hmm.
Teresa has, in public, yes, they have been one of the. In fact, they were the ones, Harsh Goenka and his fathers and etc. were the primary people who helped establish missionaries of charity in India. And she has been very clear, uh, before even people die in my missionaries of charity,
Yeah, yeah,
make them convert. I had put a video. So this is the kind of cartel that we are working with. We are too
absolutely.
small. We are too small unless we unite, unless we create a movement like Ram Mandir
Correct.
against Bollywood, and not be softened by any of those people who try to play Ravan, becoming the monk sadhu.
Yeah,
We should let the guards down. It is a long battle. It's a long battle,
yes,
uh,
it
and
is.
and you have to also understand that when you brainwash people, generations, they take time to get over it. So
Yeah,
let us be prepared. It will be a battle of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. uh, the way of filmmaking will change, technology will change, but these people will still be same. They will still try to be relevant. Old cartels will still want to dominate us, and then we have to be very vigilant of the new forms that they are adopting, and we have to fight against it. So I would
absolutely.
not, I would till we have completely defeated the enemy. I would not say that we have been successful. All I
Mm.
would say is that we are. I, as Zemsa Bollywood founder, am thankful to Parampita Parmeshwar that he has shown the way that yes, we are in the right path, and if we continue with consistency for a long term, Dirgh Kal Tak Shraddha Purvak Sevan, if we do, then we can go up to success. That's what I would say.
That's very nice, Sanjeev ji. Thank you so much for coming. It's really a great pleasure to have you here. And your contribution to dharma is exemplary, and we need to take a leaf. And as you said, we can't afford to be complacent. We have to keep doing it. We have to see the back off completely decimate this anti-Hindu Bollywood industry. That has to be seen off, and that is necessary to bring back our own dharmic culture. So a modern, a culture which sustains life in a very creative manner and with respect to Prakriti. So that has to be brought back. So thank you so much for coming and gracing our program. Ram Ram. Thank you so much. So we had today a very good discussion with Sanjeev Newarji, who graced a platform and illuminated us about Bollywood Hinduphobia and Bollywood mafia, as he put it. So with this, we close this episode today, and the next time we'll come up with another new important issue to discuss about, perhaps next about corruption or something else. Thank you. Namaskar.